It's right here. Yeah, because there's an arm. There's an arm, there's another arm, there's another one.
Parents have some concerns of some stuff they may have found in your room?
Yeah, I believe so.
And what would it be?
A human head and hands.
It's not his head.
911 is John. What's the address emergency?
Hi, there is an emergency. I found something in my son's closet wrapped in a plastic bag.
Okay, what was it?
I think it's a human head.
It's a what?
I think it's a human head.
On March 1st, 2021, police at Grand Junction, Colorado received this chilling 911 call. A mother has just discovered a disturbing secret hidden within her son's closet. Even more terrifying, he's currently just outside the house while she makes this call for help.
Why do you think it's that?
Because it looks like it's all an ear.
Is it bloody or does it like anything like that?
Can you just come? Do I have to take a picture and send it to you?
What's the address?
The dispatcher tries to get as much information as possible to make sense of this shocking call and give officers an idea of what they might be walking into.
Is your son there now?
He just pulled up. We wanted to make sure he was here before we called.
How old is he?
19. He's had a little bit of a fascination with the morbid, but he was channeling it, I thought, into becoming a crime scene investigator, but not so much.
Do you think he's going to be cooperative with us?
I don't know. I don't think he'll be violent.
Okay.
Just came back from his friend's house.
Does he have any weapons in his room, or do you guys have any in the house?
I don't know. I think that he has a shotgun, but we can certainly remove it immediately before he gets in his room. He's out by the car now, so.
Is the bag still in the closet?
No, it's in my kitchen sink. And there's a secondary bag that I have not opened. It's currently covered with a towel.
And there's a second bag?
There's a second bag, though. I don't know what's in it. I didn't open it.
I'm sorry. Did he took the second bag out of the closet?
I took the second bag out of the closet and put it in the sink.
Where's Brian now?
I think he's still outside.
And you're in the backyard now?
I am, yes, because I don't want him to hear me.
Despite the horrifying nature of this call, police could not have anticipated the twisted tale of violence they were about to embark on, nor did they have any idea just how shocking the motive behind the inexplicable horror would be. One day prior to responding to this harrowing incident, the emergency services had attended to a rather unusual call at 2 a.m. on Sunday, February 28, 2021. 19-year-old Brian Cohey Jr. is having a bad night. As officers arrive at the Blue Heron boat ramp, they can scarcely believe their eyes. The majority of the following footage has never been seen before. It's been analyzed by a qualified team, including a licensed professional counselor, a licensed clinical psychologist, and a former detective, former licensed polygraph examiner, and former hostage negotiation commander and instructor.
How do we call a tow for that?
I don't know, because he'd have to get in the friggin' water.
Yeah.
I called Black's Towing. They want me to text them a photo of the car because they think they might be able to pull it out.
Okay. So you're already in contact with them?
Yeah, but I only have like 10% battery left on my phone, and now he wants me to text him a photo of the car, and I'm like, oh, good Lord.
I can take one and text it to him for you if you'd like.
Oh, that would be fantastic. Thank you.
It's not every day that police officers see a car floating in the Colorado River. To try and make sense of what they're observing, the officers speak to Brian's mother.
He is an inexperienced driver.
Okay.
Put his car here on the angle, and he got out and just looked around at the green light for a moment, and when he went to get back in, he wasn't able because of the angle to pull it out. I don't know. He's right there.
Okay, we'll talk to him real quick. Sounds good.
Officers decide it's best to get the story straight from the horse's mouth, and 19-year-old Brian has no choice but to own up to his mistake. Little do these officers know, there's a sinister secret lurking in the background of this crazy story.
Is your son right here? Yep. Hey, partner, you want to come out and talk to me real quick?
Sure, I'm really cold. Is it okay if it's in here?
Because that's fine. He is
okay, that's fine. I did not know that. No, please
Please stay in the car.
Yeah.
All right. Nobody else in the car?
Nope.
Okay.
No, it's just us. I'm the father. That's the mother. And this is our son. He just called us 20 minutes ago and said, "Dad, I parked at the boat ramp and I messed up. I tried to get out of the car and it slid down."
Well, you're not hurt, right? You're okay?
No, just a
Okay.
little cold is all.
Just beside your pride a little bit.
And probably $7,000.
Okay. All right, man. Do you have your ID with you, driver's license by any chance?
Thankfully.
What were you doing down here, bud?
Well, I felt like I needed to get out, and I figured, why not park here and just
relax a little bit?
Relax and think.
Okay.
And I parked on the boat ramp, and I thought it would be easy to get out. But when I tried to,
Where did you park exactly? Were you down the hill a little bit?
Yeah, just a little bit.
Okay.
And then when you got back in, go ahead. When I got back in, I tried to put it in drive, and it didn't go up. So then I tried putting it in low gear, shimmying it a bit. That didn't work.
Were you facing down?
No, I was facing up.
You back down?
Yeah.
That's a really good idea.
It's a predicament so ridiculous that the responding officers can't help but laugh.
How we're gonna handle this, man? I don't know.
It might stay.
Do I get a tow going for a car in the river and see if anybody will take this?
I'm gonna work on that.
I don't know, man. So I'm kind of glad you were coming down here because I was like, it's not a crash. He just
it's like
parked
8 feet
it
out in the water.
He parked it and basically couldn't get it up. It just lost traction, looks like, and then he actually went in it down in the water. He's not hurt at all. So I'm like, how are you gonna get this car out if possible?
I don't know.
The officers are convinced that this is a teenager's mishap. It will be some time before they begin to suspect that there's anything more to this story than what they've been told.
We're gonna get some options for you here, man. I'm not sure exactly if we're gonna see if we can go through the list if anybody's got some ideas on getting this car out of here or not. I don't know. I don't see a whole lot of cars that have put themselves in that situation. So we're gonna see what we can do. And,
I'm actually the owner of the life jacket program on the boat ramp here. I do all the life jackets in Grand Junction, Colorado. So it's like, oh my God, this is not.
It happens. It happens.
Faced with embarrassment over the whole ordeal, Brian's mother talks with the officers.
Yeah, we made him wait till he was almost 18 before he got his driver's license because we didn't want him having any accidents like they do when they're 16 and 17 and doing stupid things. But stupid usually doesn't have an age limit, I guess.
Yeah. Not gonna lie, this is my first time too.
Really?
It's a new one for me.
What's that?
So I've never seen one of these either. So it's a new one for me.
On my website, backing up when people back up their boats, I see accidents when the truck goes accidentally in the water. Next thing you know, the boat and the truck's in the water.
I lost him.
Just let me know if he does. That way, if not, we can try and get hold of a tow truck and go from there.
No, it's at an angle. It's heading upriver. It's facing upriver.
Yeah.
Yes, the front of it is facing upriver. Oh, damn it. I'm sorry. It keeps losing the call. And he's like, I don't want to get wet. I don't have the proper clothing to go into the water and get wet.
Yeah.
Hey, Robert. Well, I was just talking to the patrolman, and they're suggesting that we just adjust this in daylight hours. That's why they make the big bucks. They're smart. Nobody wants to get in the water. I hear ya.
At long last, the officers make contact with the towing company willing to come out to the river in the middle of the night and risk the frigid waters. With help on the way, they finish things up with the Cohees.
If you guys want to stay warm, you're more than welcome to jump in that car and stay where it's warm.
Does he need to stay here? Or
I'm sorry?
is he free to go? I'm sure he'd like to go home and get warm.
I'm sure you'd like to get some pants on.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, it's not a crash. It's
okay.
a simple
It's
mistake.
just a stupid act.
So,
All right, I'm going to take him home then, and then we'll come back here and figure out what's what with the tow truck driver.
Terry and Brian Sr. take Brian home, but they soon return without their son to the boat ramp. Nearly an hour later, the tow company is making progress. But as the car nears the shore, the officers make a disconcerting discovery.
hey, quick question for you.
Sure.
So the back bumper, I don't know, you can probably see it from here. It's a lot of red on the back of that, dripping down it all a little bit. That's underneath the license plate, a little area right there. Okay. A lot of red, which means it looks like blood.
Blood?
Yeah. I don't know if did your son hurt himself on his way out at all?
He might have, he just didn't know it. I don't know.
That's why I'm asking. It's a good question. He's at home. Is he make sure he's not got a cut or
He just said he's going to bed.
something out on him somewhere that he's not aware of? Maybe because his adrenaline was a little high. Maybe just have him do like the self check, make sure he's okay.
Hello?
Brian, are you okay? They see blood on the back bumper of the vehicle.
Really?
Yeah, did you get hurt?
No.
Are you sure you don't have any injuries?
No, I'm fine. There's blood on it?
We're not sure.
We're not sure. It's a red, something red underneath the license plate.
Similar blood stain.
Oh, no.
All right, but you're not injured. You don't have any cuts?
No, I don't know what would cause blood or whatever it is on the bumper.
But you're not injured?
No, I'm not injured.
Officers may have some concerns about the mysterious red substance on the bumper, but they released the car into the Cohees' custody. However, on March 1st, the next day, the police once again find themselves at the Blue Heron boat ramp. A homeless man by the name of Warren Barnes has been reported missing. Officers speak to the woman who called in the report.
How do you know Warren?
I own Monique's Bridal downtown, and I give him a chair to sit and read his books.
When was the last time you saw him?
Saturday, 5 o'clock. I said, I'll see you tomorrow, Warren, and he was like, okay, meaning he planned on coming down on Sunday, and then he did not show up. So I'm thinking if they saw him Saturday, maybe it happened more up there because it's weird. He would never come down here. He would never come all the way down here.
He doesn't have a camp down here or anything?
No. He worked for People Ready. And someone found the wallet and called People Ready this morning. And they said that everything looked like it was in there because he doesn't have much. And I just gave him $20 for beer. So I know that he had maybe a couple bucks.
So they found his wallet just down here at the boat ramp?
Monique Lanati has forged a special friendship with Warren over the years.
So what raised concern with you today to report him missing?
Because the place People Ready called to see if I had seen him because he didn't show up for work, and he's never once not shown up for work in the 4 years he's been working for them. So I said no, and that I hadn't seen him since Saturday.
He was camping down here?
No, she's never seen or heard of him being down here.
That's why I'm freaked out, because there's no way he walked all the way down here and his wallet just
So, in how many years?
4 years. Yeah, that's as long as I've known him.
Officers soon find that Monique is not alone in her concerns about the missing Warren Barnes.
He literally shows up every morning, every day without fail, like at 6 o'clock, sometimes a little sooner. And we always let him in before the customers. We give him free coffee. He's the nicest old man ever.
Do you talk to him at all?
All the time.
So every morning it's around 6?
Yeah.
Without fail?
Without fail. And he's the nicest guy ever. Rough looking, but he is the nicest guy.
Monique gives officers a photograph of Warren in the hopes that it'll help with their search.
So that's the only picture you have of him?
That's the only one I have, and that's from June of 2019, so he's a little bit thinner. Okay.
So who found his wallet down here?
The lady from the place said that it was whoever runs the life jacket thingy.
I'm actually the owner of the life jacket program on the boat ramp here.
Okay. Be in touch. Well, thank you.
Yeah, of course. I hope you guys find him. I hope he's okay. If anything, I just hope we find him so that we can start the next process of whatever. Because I don't know. I just have a really bad feeling.
Monique's tone doesn't convey much hope, and with only an old photograph, police have very little to go on. However, things are transpiring across town. As it turns out, it was indeed Brian Cohees' father who called about the wallet. He found it in the most unlikely place, the now recovered Ford 500 that his son accidentally sank in the river. With her suspicions raised, Brian's mother goes into his bedroom to investigate. It's March 1st, 2021, the day after the car incident at the boat ramp, and Terry Cohee is about to make a horrifying discovery as she opens her son's closet.
I think it's a human head.
It's a what?
I think it's a human head.
Why do you think it's that?
Because it looks like it's on ear.
Shocked and terrified by what she's found in her son's closet, Terry Cohee nonetheless has the presence of mind to keep Brian in the dark while she gets police to her address. Deputies from the Mesa County Sheriff's Office arrive at Brian's address, wisely leaving their sirens off as they approach. This could have frightened the young suspect, and it's important to keep him calm for the initial interaction.
What's going on, man?
The deputy makes contact with Brian using a friendly, disarming greeting. which goes further to establish an atmosphere of calm. Of course, at the same time, the deputy is certainly scanning the area for any potential threats, as well as making sure that Brian has his hands where he can see them.
How much?
Cooperate. I am going to cooperate.
Okay, so parents have some concerns of some stuff they may have found in your room?
Yeah, I believe so.
And what would it be?
A human head and hands.
Do you have anything on you that's gonna cut, poke, hurt, stick me anything without reaching for nothing? Don't reach for nothing.
My phone and my wallet, that's
okay.
it.
Well, I'm gonna have you face that way, put your hands on top of your head for me real quick. I just wanna make sure you interlace your fingers for me real quick, all right?
It's important that the deputy only ask enough questions to figure out exactly what is going on at the scene. And while this is not the kind of encounter that even a veteran police officer would be accustomed to, it's Brian's parents who must slowly absorb the shock of their son's admission.
I'm gonna have you walk over here. You're gonna sit in the back of my partner's patrol car for a minute, okay? Not yet. Okay. Just sit back there and hang out for me, okay? Can you walk me inside, please?
Let's walk you off through this, what happened in the very beginning.
Okay.
Let me do it. You go inside.
Well, let's stay out here with me for a minute.
Sit down. Come on, sit down, baby.
Can I go in there and verify here first?
Oh, yeah, please. We haven't seen it. Yeah, we haven't
Okay.
looked at it.
It's under the towel in the sink.
Okay.
Yeah, Annie, stay with your mother. Give her a...
Just make sure that guy goes in the car first.
I can stay here. You can go in the sink, right?
Well,
The sink's
okay.
right there. No, you can on your own.
Yeah.
House is empty.
Okay.
We had a bad feeling about what happened this weekend.
Okay.
And she said there's a bag in this closet, and she opened it up. And she called me and said, get over here right now.
The deputy correctly asks for permission to enter the house so that he can confirm the grim contents of the kitchen sink.
I covered it with a towel.
Okay.
So I didn't want him to see it because we didn't want him to run. I don't want to look at it.
Yeah. Just sit back there and hang out for me, okay?
How are you?
I'm good, sir. How are you? You said your name's Brian?
Yeah. I'm not feeling too well.
You're not feeling too well? All right.
No, these past few days I've been very, very anxious.
That's understandable. So what we're going to have you do here is I'm just going to have you sit in the back here, okay? I'm going to turn on the air for you in a second. That way you're not too hot. Are you a hot-blooded or cold-blooded kind of guy?
I am very cold-blooded. I prefer cold. Well, no, actually, sorry, hot-blooded.
Hot-blooded. So you prefer the cold. Okay, fantastic.
Thank
All
you.
right. So hop in here. I know you're tall, so it's a little bit of a tight squeeze, but like I said, I'll get that air on for you.
Sorry about that.
All right.
Induction's been quite violent lately.
The officer has no response to this observation.
How you holding up, Brian? Okay. A bit thirsty? You guys have any water in your home? I can't make any guarantees we're going to be able to go in and get some, but I will get some water to you as soon as I can, okay? All right, Brian. We're headed to the sheriff's office, and your family's going to go with us, okay?
She also doesn't respond on the way to the sheriff's office when Brian casually makes another chilling remark.
It's under this bridge.
Okay, Brian.
Thank you.
No problem, sir. So walk with me. We're going to walk right this way, okay?
You're fine with me not being in cuffs.
I'm fine with you not being in cuffs.
Okay, thank you.
All right, Brian. Open this door for me, please. Just walk forward for me, Brian.
Oh, I should have a mask.
You're okay. Don't worry about it, okay? Keep on walking. Keep going. Take another left. Hard left. Right here. Right here. Sorry. All right. So have a seat, and we'll be with you in a moment, okay? Thanks, Brian.
With Brian situated in the interrogation room, investigators speak with his parents to find out what happened that harrowing morning.
And right here. Just take your time. Take as much time as you need, okay? So I know very little about what's going on today. So, what started all of what's going on?
Terry relays the incident at the boat ramp.
So we have the car towed back to the address, and of course, with the battery being wet, nothing was operating. And so my husband was cleaning out the car because he was going to take it into Scotty's to see if they could maybe salvage it. Okay. And he found the wallet. So he called me this morning
and he said, found a wallet in Brian's car. Oh, and the officers thought that there was blood on his car. Okay. The night that it was in the river. Okay. The scene, and, you know, he had just had a procedure done on his armpit a few days before, so I thought maybe the adrenaline opened that back up, and that's where it came from. I don't know. And he said, I don't know where it came from. And he took special effects class last summer, which involved fake blood. Okay. And he's like, you know, one of those fake blood containers first in my trunk is probably that. And I was like, okay, that makes perfect sense.
However, his father, Brian Cohey Sr., found something even grislier in the car's glove box and decided to confront his son.
Went back out there this morning just to continue, and I opened the glove box, and there was a knife in the glove box, underwater. The glove box is full of water, very large knife. And then, as I go around the passenger door, I open the passenger door, and there's a wallet in between this door and I open up. That's not Brian's wallet. It's frozen solid. I'm like, oh my God, that's not Brian's wallet. So I take it inside, and I ended up getting one of the wads of cards out, and there's a label ready. I read that, so I called label ready, and then another one, there was a social security card. I was like, hey, this is a weird call, but I've got a wallet here with so-and-so's name, and I'm hoping he works for you all, or you subbed him out or whatever. Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, my one, we've been missing him. Yes, he didn't show up today. I'm like, oh, my God, now we've got a missing person. Okay, well, I found his wallet at Blue Hen Boat Ramp. So here's my name. Here's all my information. If you get a hold of him, tell him I've got his wallet here at my house. Okay, so I left that like that. Called Brian. Brian, what's going on? Why is there a wallet in the car? Oh, I found it down at the boat ramp when I was down there walking around. Okay. And he was so sincere. I took it all. I want to believe him. This is my son. Sure. You found out, Brian, how come, all this going on in the last 2 days, how come you didn't tell us about the wallet? Dad, I was just so excited with all the goings on. My car getting towed. Look at this wet now. It won't start. I just didn't think about it. I didn't think it was important, Dad. I'm like, Brian, who is this one whatever guy? Mm-hmm. Dad, I swear to you, I only know one more, and he's my school friend. It's not him. I believe him. There's blood on the bumper. Right. And I'm like a smear of blood. And I'm like, that didn't come from that cut. And I asked him, right, tell me the truth. I knew. I didn't want to believe it. Something was going on. How that gut feeling.
Despite the red flags, the family put the strange accident at the boat ramp behind them. But no one was prepared for the spine-chilling discovery Terry made the next morning.
I was in his room, cleaning up, putting some things away, and he has a Rubbermaid container in his closet. And so I just kind of started digging through, going, what is this mess? Like moms do. Sure. And I saw a plastic bag, a white plastic trash bag. And I was like, what in the world does he have in here? And I picked it up, and it was heavy. And I held it in my hands, and I was like, what in the world is this? What in the world? Is it like maggots covering something? Or I don't know. I better take it in the sink. So I carried it out to the sink, and it was double bagged. So I ripped open one bag, and I saw old blood. Okay. And I went, I ripped open the second bag. And the blood is it. Okay. It's so beautiful. So I didn't open the second bag. Okay. I called my husband. I said, Brian Jr. had already gone over his friend's house. He said, Mom, I want to go over to Kai's house. And I said, okay, but, don't be over there too long. He goes, yeah, I should only be over there maybe 3 or 4 hours. It's good to hang out with her. And I said, okay.
This friend was Kylan Like, and police would speak with her shortly.
So I called his father. He said, how did you pick an Andy up from school? He said, I think it's at 12:30. 12:40, whatever. I don't know what time it was. I just said, you need to come over here right now. And he said, okay, well, I got Andy with me. And I said, you need to come over here right now. And he said, okay, I'll be there in a few minutes. And he hung up.
Kylan Like's mother, Heather Gale, recalled what she saw after Brian ended the call.
And my only memory of that was the way he peeled out of the driveway. I actually have a picture somewhere on my phone of the marks when he left to go, because his brother called him, I guess, and said, I need my car back.
We know, of course, that this was a ruse on the part of Brian's parents to get him back to the house after their horrifying discovery.
Brian, my husband, was already there by that point, and he put a towel around his. There was not much more to be said. So we hatched a plan to call Brian and tell him that his brother needed the Mustang for a driving lesson because he's on his learners. And just as he pulled up, I called him.
And he kind of knew something was up. Dad, you ever feel like the day's going to change? He started saying things. I'm like, yeah, we're just being really vague. Me and Andy was sitting there, and Mom was on the phone over there talking to 911. And it just seemed like it took forever.
As his parents continued to speak with the detectives, investigators Pete Berg and Lisa Norcross joined Brian in his room. Over the next 2 hours, they will hear a shocking story of blood-curdling evil. And before the interview is over, they will even learn the dreadful truth about Brian's ill-fated trip to the boat ramp.
Oh, thanks, right. Well, this is Lisa.
Hi, how are you?
Okay, yeah.
Good, thanks.
Never really good.
Okay.
Trade me seats?
Sure. Ooh, this is a special chair.
No, this is the special chair because it's soft and I'm old.
Brian is as cooperative and pleasant with the investigators as he was with the deputy who escorted him to the sheriff's office, but his nervous shaking and insatiable thirst indicate he is perhaps not as calm as he's trying to appear. The question is whether he's anxious about his fate or excited about his moment in the spotlight. One thing to keep in mind is that, according to his mother, Brian is diagnosed with ADHD and autism, and leg shaking can be a normal, stimulating behavior for people with these diagnoses. They read Brian his Miranda rights, and he agrees to speak with the officers.
Brian, from here? Yeah. Where did you go to school? I've went to Broadway Elementary School just across from my dad's house. Then I went to Brooklyn Middle School. Right. Graduated last year. Good for you. Okay. Do you work? Yeah. Where do you work at? Not even part-time. I was going to say part-time, not even. As a bagger / courtesy clerk for Safeway. I work anywhere from 2 to 4 days a week.
It may seem at first glance that the detectives are engaging in idle chit-chat to set Brian at ease, but this is part of rapport building, and it's also crucial for them to establish early on that Brian has been handling responsibilities such as school and work, and is perfectly capable of carrying on a normal conversation. This will make it much harder for Brian to claim before a jury that he was unable to tell right from wrong.
And how did you get here?
I murdered someone.
Okay.
It seems that Investigator Berg was merely asking how Brian physically arrived at the sheriff's office, but Brian doesn't stand on ceremony. With a tone and head tilt that suggests he's bragging, Brian makes the ultimate confession. In fact, he's all too willing to discuss this horrific crime with detectives.
So start back to the beginning and go slow and tell me as many details as you can remember.
So, because I mean, Murray going to jail for the 15 years probably.
I have no idea.
Because
we're at the beginning.
It's murder. I mean, I'm going to jail for 20 probably, but so I figured, why fight it?
Okay. So what's important to me is to learn as much about you and what you did and as I can. Well, as many details as you can give me, the better.
Brian's polite exterior only adds to the surreal depravity of his confession. He's somewhat of a unique suspect.
Let's see. Yeah, it was the night of February 27th. It was a full moon. And I figured I could see so well, why not drive out? I am in a bad state of mind at that time. I have major depressive disorder, so I am not thinking, shall say, positively.
Okay.
And I'm cruising around for an hour and a half. So I fill up on gas halfway through, and I'm eventually driving underneath the bridge near the sheriff's office. I'm bad with words. I'm just... Yeah. By the way, I'm a habitual late shaker. I have a question. You send people who have committed crimes like me. Do we stay in this county jail or are we moved?
It all depends on what the judge says.
Brian maintains his spirit of cooperation, but he's clearly concerned about what happens after this interview is over. It's interesting to note how he compares himself to others with the phrase, people who have committed crimes like me, almost as if he has joined an exclusive club.
So we were at the bridge?
Yes, I was at the bridge. I was cruising. There was a road underneath, right? Under the overpass. And I was driving along, and I see a shape here on the railway track. So I'm like, oh, interesting. So I go up, and as I'm looking, I see a large thing wrapped in a canvas.
Okay.
And I'm like, that's a homeless person. So I grab my knife, I put on 3 layers of gloves because plastic gloves can betray their users because they're so thin, those vinyl gloves, by putting your fingerprints through. So I put on 3 on one hand. I took the knife, I pulled back the canvas, and I stabbed his neck.
Okay.
He was panicking at first in his old man voice. He was in his 50s. I know why I call him an old man. He was saying, what are you doing? What are you doing? Why? Ah! And I just kept on stabbing his neck. Is it okay if I do a demonstration?
Oh, yeah.
This is him. I was straddled on top of him like this.
Okay.
And he couldn't fight back. It was actually surprisingly easy. I was barely breaking a sweat. I thought, oh, this guy, he's going to be tough. But no, it was actually surprisingly easy. And during the time, I was growling and making animalistic noises.
At this point, there can be no doubt that Brian is excited to tell the investigators all about his horrific deed. Not only is he pleased to be holding court, he's actually reliving the murder and relishing the memory, demonstrated by a smile. As for any question of this crime being premeditated, Brian admits to having put on 3 layers of gloves, which he already had with him.
The whole ordeal lasted about a minute and a half.
Okay.
And when I was finished stabbing him, he took out his last breath, a grunt, and his head was halfway cut off in stabs. All the while, after I killed him, I just couldn't stop saying, stinky, dirty, dirty, stinky, stinky. I wasn't smelling anything, but...
In an eerie coincidence, on one of his social media accounts, Brian identifies himself as that stinky boy registered under his email ID.
And why were you saying that?
I don't know.
Okay. But you remember doing it, so.
Yeah. I suppose it was just me speaking out my mind at that moment. It was a pouring out of the mind.
Were you worried about, this looks like it's pretty close to the road and stuff, somebody seeing you or catching you?
It was 11 p.m., so not many were driving by. Well, it was behind the pillar. So, here's the road. It was here. So people would only see a brief thing here and here.
So were you worried about them seeing you?
I was worried about one of them stopping.
What did you think could happen if somebody...
Well, if they looked, it was quite dark under there, so they wouldn't have seen the guy unless they looked. They would have seen me holding a bloody 12-inch knife, wearing gloves, and wearing a mask to conceal my identity, a face mask.
Okay. So you weren't doing it for COVID, you were doing it to hide your face?
Partially. Social distancing. Yeah, but no one stopped. And I'm just like, proves the bystander effect.
His laughter and offhand comments speak to his mindset, which is that nothing is wrong. Brian mentions the bystander effect here, which is the idea that the more people there are watching a crime, the less likely that anyone will stand up and do anything about it. There are a few different reasons behind this, but we know that it often occurs because people may be afraid that they'll be judged by the rest of the crowd if they step in first to do something. Ultimately, people are social creatures, and the vast majority of people chose to do whatever the rest of the crowd does. It's a rare person that steps forward alone.
I noticed you got a cut on your hand. Is that from...
Oh, that was when I was doing gas, when I filled up. What happened was, because I don't want to be seen, in a gas station with a knife poking out of my pocket. I put it in the car on the back seat floor. When I'm done with it, I try and grab it, but my hand slips and grabs the blade, and as I pick it up, it slices these 2 fingers.
Okay.
And then, let's see. Yeah. And then after that, I stripped his clothes. I cut open his belly. You can see his guts. They're really pink. Sorry, that was morbid.
One of the exceptional aspects of Brian's confession is the level of detail he provides. Together with his casual commentary and jokes, these details convey to investigators that Brian is being fully truthful about what he did. It's also worth noting that morbid humor has long been one of Brian's trademarks.
What about other kids in the neighborhood or on the bus? He didn't really, he had a couple of friends that he's had since elementary, but he had a morbid sense of humor and would make jokes, and I'd say, Brian, that is not funny. He'd go, yeah, it is, Mom. You just don't get my sense of humor.
In an interview with prosecutors, Kylan Like, who's known Brian since the 9th grade and whose house Brian was visiting just before his arrest, says that being provocative is a hallmark of his personality.
When I first met him, he was very edgy, is the best way I can describe it. He loved to get a reaction out of people and say things that would make people have a double take. He wanted to go against the flow. His jokes were always in the realm of dark humor. Very rarely did he make jokes that weren't somehow relating to death or violence or destruction or breaking the law or just basically just humor that is considered dark humor. And I know a couple of people personally who just hated him because that's kind of how he is. You either think it's hilarious or you hate it. And that's the people who think it was hilarious was a small percentage of people that unfortunately and embarrassingly included myself. And my very best friend of high school, Emily, was someone who hated him. And, she's a bigger girl, and he would call her fat and call her pig and call anybody who looked like that things along the same line. Like, just spiteful, I guess. Just trying to, like I said, get a rise out of people.
Kylan Like is not the only one who noticed Brian's love of sick humor. While in a youth diversion program 2 years earlier, Brian asked the other teens if they enjoyed a snack known as crispy meat bites. He joked that the recipe involved running your cat or dog through a meat grinder and then frying them up. Despite Brian's predilection for dark humor, Kylan's mom tells investigators that she never worried about her daughter being friends with him.
He didn't seem scary to me at the time. He just seemed unusual, in the way that my nephew and other people I know that are on the spectrum are just a little unusual, not a lot of eye contact, things like that. But he never struck me as scary. Like I said, I actually let my daughter and her friends, not that I was in charge of her friends, but I let her sleep over at his house, like a month, 2 months, whenever New Year's. And his mom, as far as I know, she ran a daycare. So I thought, good with kids, whatever,
Okay. Not only does Brian's mom run a daycare, she runs it out of her home. Upon discovering the severed head in her son's closet that afternoon, she had to scramble to get parents to pick up their children before calling police.
And I sent home all the children. I had a few little kids over, but I was watching. So I called their parents and I said, "It's been a family emergency. Please come pick up your children right away. They're safe. They're not hurt." Parents came. I hope everything's okay. And they took their kids home.
Back in the interrogation room, Brian goes into further nauseating detail about the post-mortem mutilation of Warren Barnes.
Destroyed his eyes by stabbing them.
Okay.
And then I cut off his hands. I put those in plastic Ziploc bags. And then I cut off his right arm at this joint and at this joint. And then at this arm, I tried cutting it here, and then I tried cutting it here. But what happened was I accidentally broke his bone. This one, it was poking out. And so I left that one here, partially cut, dismembered here, bone sticking out. And then I left his body there. And then I took the head, put it in a leftover pizza box from the dinner a few nights ago. And then I took the hands, put them in the back, drove home, hid the hands and head in my room, cleaned the knife, threw away the garbage with the blood on it, and then put the blood stained, wasn't stained, it had splatters on it. I put it in the dish, in the washing machine.
What did you put in there?
I put the outfit I murdered him in the washing.
You were wearing, or?
Yeah, I was wearing.
Okay.
In the washing machine, put it on high speed so it would effectively remove the blood. Washed it twice.
You'll notice again that not only is Brian's level of detail remarkable and disturbing, he talks about the steps he took to avoid getting caught. These will undoubtedly be important elements to any eventual prosecution as it goes to establishing his state of mind.
I can back up just so I don't lose track of where my mind is. So you cut him open, did you cut his arms off, his hands off, all that before you went home?
Yeah, before I went home, I tossed the arm bits around. Like I took the right arm bit, threw it out, took the left arm bit, threw it out.
So it's somewhere around that bridge?
Yeah, but look in because I know crime scenes can be a very wide area. Mm-hmm. You're going to want to look in a 10-foot area. So like, this is a zoom in. So here's the road. And here's where my car was parked. His corpse is here.
The interview continues to get more and more bizarre. In addition to reliving the mutilation in full pantomime, Brian enthusiastically goes over the dimensions and location of the crime scene as if he's a police lieutenant giving a briefing to his officers.
I hope I'm being cooperative.
Oh, you're doing great. So you could have just walked over here.
I could have. It's no use trying to deceive Brian.
So that's north, and you threw... What all did you throw while you were there? I mean, how many pieces am I looking for?
There are 2 pieces of arm. This section and this section. Okay. Just in this general area. I couldn't say where they are.
Armed with information they've been fed from the interrogation, police officers descend on the area. There they find a scene that will no doubt haunt them for the rest of their lives.
It's right here. Yeah. Because there's an arm. Hey.
The female cop starts to laugh when she sees an arm. It's unfortunate that the family and the court will hear this.
There's an arm, there's another arm.
Okay, hold on. Do some pictures.
There's another one.
I don't have a clue.
This is like something out of TV.
Yeah. Discussion with the deputy chief about how these kids don't have any. Right here's a leg. That could be the upper arm or a leg.
Well, there's 3. There, and there.
Pieces down there. I mean, if we can get the lab out here, that would be the best thing.
Yeah, get forensics out here.
Oh, check that other camera up there. Holy hell.
As police officers less than half a mile away take measure of the bleak crime scene under the bridge, Detective Norcross probes more deeply into the whereabouts of the rest of Warren Barnes' remains.
You took, was it the head and the hands? Mm-hmm. And what did you put them in?
Well, there's a 3 rule for bodies. I like to call it the 3 rule.
Okay, tell me about that.
3 days, the body starts to stink. No, 3 hours, rigor mortis sets in, the body stiffens. 3 days, the body starts to stink because of decomposition. Mm-hmm. 3 weeks, the body is starting to seriously decompose.
Right.
3 months, the body is unrecognizable. 3 years, it turns into a skeleton.
And may I ask how you know that?
I've always had a fascination with forensics and with anatomy and physiology. That's something I made up. So that's something I don't want to sound like I'm inventing something. That's why I coined the 3 rule.
You kind of remember it that way.
Yeah.
That's your way of remembering.
Is it accurate?
Well, somewhat. So.
This segment is fascinating for a number of reasons, not the least of which is the remarkable display of skill on the part of Detective Norcross.